All right, welcome back. It's that time where we're diving into our next segment. Conversation, yes. But this is going to be like a bit of a twist for us here, as we'll be remembering late Captain Romeo Itima, yes, who passed on in 2014. Now, this is a man that for some of us that have been following the activities of the maritime sector, his activities were apt. We saw all that he did in ensuring that maritime safety, yes, was right at the forefront of the conversation. The old concerns around piracy were part of his focus. He wanted to ensure that maritime trade was a safe beehive for players. Yes, we'll be talking with his son. Yes, the son of late Captain Romeo Itima. He is Kelvin Itima. Is here with us in the studio. Kelvin, good morning. So good to have you join us on
Good
the
morning.
show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Tell us quickly. We're talking about your late father.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what does he really mean? In your understanding, what does he represent in the maritime sector?
Well, he represents a force that he came back to Nigeria to make sure that the maritime sector was stabilized, that the maritime sector in Nigeria, one of the arteries of this country, was made into a fashion that could benefit the entire country and made that it would be safe for everybody here.
Interesting.
Interesting, right? Your father, it's an irony because your father fought for safety.
Yes.
But take a look at this. He met his untimely death. Untimely because of, let me just read it out here. He fell off a boat and drowned in Escravos, Delta State, right?
That's correct.
It's an irony.
It is an irony.
I think sometimes you, his children, would want to say, why did he leave the U.S. for Nigeria? Why did your dad leave the U.S. for Nigeria?
You know, this is a conversation that every Nigerian has weekly, if not daily. How can we better the country? My dad left this country not to leave forever, but left to gain resources and always come back. So inside of him was that burning desire to come back and help change the country. And even though we all have that conversation, very few of us actually have the means or opportunity to actually come and do something. He had that opportunity, so he wasn't going to miss it for anything. And he came back, and it took him, all of our life savings, even his own life, right? When you talk about blood, sweat, and tears, it's not a metaphor. It's the real thing. He gave everything to make sure that this country saw a change.
How much change did you see him bring?
Well, he spent 30 years in the United States. He was the first Nigerian captain in the Gulf of Mexico. Wow. So what he did was brought that system and put it in place in Nigeria. So it was a great change. The Nigerian government used a private partnership for him and he brought the technology into the maritime industry to make sure that not only was it safe, but the Nigerian government and the people at large were receiving the proper duties, levies, and taxes.
Your father's company had some issues with the EFCC. I would like for you to tell us a little bit about that and what the situation is right now.
Well, so, as of lately, I think in July, I think all the charges were dropped, if I'm speaking correctly. Anytime there's a private-public partnership, it will come under scrutiny sometimes, especially one of such size and stature. But what it was initially, the contract initially, the way it was created was that it was a short-term contract that had to be renewed. And so without the government agreeing to renew it, it will not continue going on. But I know that for a fact, the company itself does not get paid unless duties and taxes are actually picked up. So in that sense, the Nigerian government made sure that it could not be abused, it could not be mishandled and things of that nature. So even though it did go through its scrutiny, I think that they've seen that there was no mishandling, no mismanagement, and thankfully most of these charges have dropped. And I think that hopefully they'll be able to resume in the next year, hopefully sooner.
So the scrutiny itself wasn't a bad thing, right?
The scrutiny itself isn't a bad thing. Anytime you have public and private partnership, this is the people's money. It's the taxes. They have to make sure that it's going to the proper place, that the proper job is being done. But whoever negotiated the contract on the federal government in the beginning made sure they put checks and balances in place in the beginning so that it couldn't be abused.
We've had this issue in Nigeria where companies don't succeed 20, 30 years. Your father passed on in 2014, and then I want to believe that the company still existed.
Yeah, it actually passed in 2012. The company
2012, yeah.
still exists.
What's the relationship of the family with the company? Are you still in charge?
No, I was never in charge. It was never my wish to be in charge. But the relationship is a little bittersweet because, like I said before, my dad gave his life, our life savings, every ounce of money he had, and his own life for the company. Now my uncle is the MD, and we have had challenges and difficulties being fairly compensated. Now we have a court case that I can't mention because of it's still ongoing, but it pains me sometimes to see that this story that is not it's not only us, right? There are many people in Nigeria who suffer from this where the father leaves and then a family member steps in and does not do what is right by the widow and the children. So for us, for me, my family, my mother, we never wanted or asked to be in charge. But sometimes I feel like I failed my father by not making sure that my mother and younger siblings were taken care of properly. And really that's our only goal.
So earlier on, you said all your father wanted was safety in the maritime sector.
Right.
So that was kind of his vision for
Absolutely,
the company, right?
absolutely.
Does it align with your uncle's vision right now?
I think for the most part it aligns. You know, the founder of a company, the visioneer, is the person who holds that vision. And once that person is gone, you can't recreate it. What you can do is try to stay, like you say, in alignment with that mission. But I think what my dad built, the only way for this company to make money is for it to do its job.
Yeah.
So if you deviate from that path, the company no longer makes money. There's no point even having it. So at least he put that check in place so that it can stay in alignment with what it's supposed to do.
We're talking about Global West Vessel Specialist Limited here. That's the
correct.
company your father formed. Yes. I'm sorry to say, if you had not come on set today, I'm sure there are very few Nigerians that know about the late Romeo Itima.
That's true.
And then so that is very important that you're doing this. I learned the documentary was shot of him.
Absolutely. So in 2014, you know, this story was so great, and I felt so moved by what my dad had done. I had to shoot a documentary. I had to show the world and people what he created. So what I did was we shot in 2014. It's available on iTunes and Amazon Prime, but here in Nigeria it's been difficult finding a distribution company to actually put it out for Nigerians to see. So now it's on YouTube. If you go to the Price of a Dream YouTube channel, you could see the entire documentary.
You need to say that a lot more quietly.
Sorry.
Because I'm sure Vivian is actually trying to type that in. So I'm sure she wants to see the documentary. Say it again.
So
On YouTube, the YouTube page.
the Price of a Dream YouTube channel. It has the full documentary, and you can watch it for free.
Prize of a Dream.
Price of a Dream on YouTube. Yes, the YouTube channel has a full documentary, and there it goes in depth. I mean, we go back to my father's village. We go to Trinidad, where he bought his first boat. We go back into the States. We interview people, and we talk about this process fully, what it took to get there.
Interesting. Tell us about his impact. What he fought for. Do you see it being sustained, what we have right now in the maritime sector?
You know, the maritime sector, you can compare this country to a beating heart, and the maritime sector is one major artery of a beating heart. Anytime you have a major artery that's blocked or clogged, there's going to be problems with the body and vessel as a whole. So the maritime industry has some issues. It is not dead yet. Let's make sure that it doesn't die and that we don't have to do surgery on it. Let's make sure that it's taken care of properly before we see it collapse and we have to reap the benefits or reap the problems of that kind of issue happening.
Okay, let me put you on the spot a bit.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So I'd like to know, are you just carrying your father's torch, or is this a passion as well? Are you passionate about the maritime sector in Nigeria?
I am very, very much passionate about my father's mission. You know, my dad, everything I know about my dad was maritime. And as a young child, he spoke about the maritime industry in depth. I do not work in the maritime industry, but I am passionate about his mission, because his mission was ultimately what took my father from me. He won't be there for my wedding. He won't be there for my kids to be born. So I cannot turn my back on what his mission and passion was. I have to make sure that people understand what he did and hopefully keep it going.
Well, Kevin, it's such a, my heart goes out to the family on this. I sincerely empathize with the family on the loss of your father, even if it's about 6 years now, but the memory is still very fresh.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we empathize with you, and we wish you all the very best in your endeavor.
Thank you.
Moving on, Kelvin Itima is the son of late captain, yes, late captain Romeo Itima. Yeah, who is the founder and pioneer MD of Global Vessel. Yes, it's called Global Vessel Specialist Limited, the security outfit.
Yes,
Thank you so very much
Thank
for
you for
coming
having
on
me.
the show.
You're welcome. Yeah.
All right, so we'll take a break. When we'll come back, we'll have more conversation for you. Don't go away.